absolutely fascinating evidence session. I was just wanting to pick up on this point about the extent to which there's going to be any real weight coming from the political declaration at this point. I just want to think through a scenario here. So we will leave, assuming we leave in the way that is planned, we'll leave the European Union on the 29th of March next year. Subsequent to that, we will be entering negotiations on the future framework, which the forerunner is the political declaration. That could be one treaty in the end, or it could be a series of treaties, and those treaties could be perhaps independent of each other. So there could be possibly treaties signed through the period of transition if there is agreement reached on different areas. I think we've had some evidence to that effect before. But say we're in a situation where there's a delay with the changes, the European Parliament, Council, Commission. Probably we won't be into active negotiations until this time next year. Then there may be a year with new teams in place. We don't know what the political reality will be over here either. So if there's a scenario in which there aren't any treaties that are signed or agreement that is reached on the future framework, what happens come December 2020, assuming that there isn't an extension of the transition period?
Another cliff edge.
Another cliff edge, and then sort of back to where we could be without a deal March 29. So possible defaulting to WTO.
Well, that's not even that. But that's not even a given. The thing is that, and from the EU side, this is seen as very regrettable that we are in this situation. First of all, because of the UK being the UK and them regretting that the UK is leaving in the first place, but also the fact that we are at this point in the negotiations. There's no certainty about the withdrawal agreement, but there's also no certainty about what the UK would want the future relationship to look like. And from the European side, that is seen as adding to that uncertainty in the negotiations over the withdrawal agreement. So they are linked. And the Article 50 text says that the withdrawal agreement are to be completed with a view to the future relationship. It's not giving any specific guidelines as to there needs to be something specific agreed. It's just with a view. So there's a hope that there will be some clarity regarding what that future relationship will look like. But at this point in time, as far as the EU 27 are concerned, we have no idea. And therefore, it is correct the way you say that the timeline will be that the withdrawal agreement has to come through, and only at that point will there be real negotiations over what a future relationship will entail. And that could be any of the options still that have been on the table from the very beginning. But the expectations are that we are nowhere near a Norway model. It is much more like a free trade agreement. That's the expectation at the moment, simply because of the way that the negotiations have unfolded and the red lines that have been made early on from the UK government regarding leaving single market, regarding leaving customs union, jurisdiction of the ECJ, etc. That will take time to whatever agreement has to be negotiated. You're right that even that transition period will be a very, very short period of time to get anything through. Mind you, the ratification for that agreement is also quite different from the withdrawal agreement. In fact, depending on the kind of agreement, if it is an extensive agreement, which would mean that there is an extension of the EU territory with the relations to the UK in some way, ECJ jurisdiction, etc., that would, for some countries even, require parliamentary ratification. So it is important that the withdrawal agreement now preferably has a steer to which direction this goes, and then day one after the withdrawal agreement comes into place, that there is serious negotiations about taking this forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jonathan Chibok.